Boom. All right, take two. The 86th IWAR Gold Strategy Workshop is here. This is Michael Cook. He is the IWA expert, and I am not. I'm Matt Riley. I'll be the host, and we're going to prepare for the January 2025 cycle. So this is going to be quite a bumpy ride, but because there's so many options, there's not that many options.
Yeah.
So uh, whenever you want to take it away. Oh, let me give you a share screen thing here.
Yep.
That
I
always
was going to
helps.
say,
Ah, sharing the screen. There we go. Should work now. Details.
there we go.
All right.
Okay.
I like one of the guys like, can I watch live? I'm like, we don't do it live. And I said this to multiple people over the time, like, Alex does the show live. We just do ours, record it, and
It's pretty live, though. I
it
mean,
is. Yeah, we have
we're going to
no
put this up in like 10 minutes. So.
great. Yeah, whoops. All right, so
All right. So, as you said, a lot more options this cycle. We were kind of spoiled last time. We're literally, I think it was the lowest number we could have in gold.
yes.
Uh, Year end gift. Well, we get the opposite this cycle. So,
Right.
let's go through and see what we got. Because I'll tell you right now, we got 272 options to figure out. And part of why we have so many, you'll see that iron had the same as our last gold. So we get to mark off 29, 28, but unfortunately, it's two of our reasons. And still was a double drop.
Hmm.
So it unfortunately only takes one off. Now we know we could take off two times ago in gold. Unfortunately, that's also a double drop.
Yep.
And then we know we stretch it to that three cycles ago, which also had our 25s from two cycles ago. So a little bit of a double up there. That's 29, 27 that I don't think
Right.
it's hitting. And you see that leaves us with a lot of the four of options
Yeah.
and one double drop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So pretty rough with how many we have. Um, it's interesting to see nothing's really been that long. You see, we have the four cycles ago, five, six, seven, eight. So
Right.
there's really none of those that have been, year and a half waiting type things.
Right.
Um, so it's all pretty much in that mid tier that has a real good shot of hitting. Um, it's going to be a little tougher to pick. So we'll think through a few more things in a minute. Let's go to the back though. Let me get the correct back holds before I confuse somebody. That was last cycle. Okay. So we got 90 at 45, which means everything's in play.
Yep.
We know from the first two feds, we had a 41 in iron, a 42 in steel. So last cycle, we got to do the 41s all the way across. It's going to be a mix again. Means both are an option here. That's probably the first thing you want to try to cut, though. And so we'll walk through kind of what I think of it. It's still tough because right now we have four 41s in a row. We have five out of the last six cycles.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of 41s. We talked about when we saw the 42s like this, 41s were coming. There they were. They flooded us since then. We're probably due for it to balance out soon. What's a little peculiar, though, is you see that's a longer stretch than we typically have. And when you get those longer stretches, sometimes you'll get things like what happens in Jade here. But we're at the point, I feel like it's ready to switch back over to 42.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to try the 41s one more cycle, again, it's not the end of the world. You're going to get a 42 or 43. I think if you're looking for that 44, though, I would play the 42s. So if you go ahead and lock in the 42s or the 41s, whichever you think, you're going to cut the 272 down to like 131
Yeah,
or 136. Right? Yeah, 136. So you got to make that decision. That's the key.
right.
Like I said, I'm going to probably go 42, thinking it's time to switch back, get a mixture again. But yeah, 41 still a possibility.
And of those
We could see it stretch a
42s,
few more.
the
Yeah, let's
65 the
look
real
at.
dog or 83? That's the ugly question. I feel like 65 was getting better, wasn't it? Nope, I
Uh,
lied.
I mean, there was this, if you call that better.
They're both terrible.
Truthfully,
So,
I need to look a little more to know if it's just what I think versus what actually is true. You tend to see when a hole jumps from a bad to a 44 and then back, you don't often get that twice. Like this one happened here, doesn't happen here, doesn't happen here. See, it's probably closer to 50-50 than I think, but in my head, whenever I see one that got to jump, I don't think it's going to jump again right after.
yeah.
Um, you probably need to put a little more fact into that, but truthfully, out of those two, I would probably be playing more of the 65, just thinking that it's a little more due to have a good cycle.
Yeah.
But I'll play a mixture. I'll still play both. But Strat 1 would have a 65 over an 83, would be my opinion. Yeah, that's definitely something to put a little more time into. But
But would it have Duke's Mayo with it?
yes, if they sponsor it,
Sorry, we were talking about terrible bowl game sponsors earlier, so
which is all of them. Like
oh
it's
yeah.
just
It's just
they said
uh
some aren't even they're not even companies, they're just cities. Like
oh,
makes no sense.
the Tampa
I don't
Tourism
get it.
Board. That's all right. All right, so
Yeah.
with that in
So
mind, so do you want to do the back end first, or do you want to do
yeah, we'll keep going on the back. So we're gonna say that you're gonna make that decision. He said, I'll go 42s. Don't blame anybody going 41s again for one more cycle. Um, but that gets us halfway there. We're at a more realistic number.
yeah?
The next thing I'll look at, I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen both 44 and 43 twos.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it was almost clockwork when we were getting them. Like nearly, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we got this. So it's a little strange to me what's going on. We actually ended the year with more of the 44, 143 ones
Yeah.
we typically have. It's 4 out of the last 7 now. And you see, that's pretty rare. Um,
Mm.
you have to go back to when we had that ridiculous stretch a couple years ago. So I think we're in play that one of the twos is going to hit.
This is going to be a very
Um,
erratic score schedule, a score result.
I think it will be. Um, there'll be a couple highs, but yeah, it's going to be very middle ground top cycle.
This is the cycle for those of you that know the players. There are certain players that like we talked about it in one of the chat the other day about players who have like 2,000 wins and no stars. This
Hmm.
is the cycle guys like that hit 501s. I don't know what it is, but guys like that that seem to play and hang around forever and just don't do seem to always nail it this kind of cycle. Calling it here first.
Yeah, if I'm going to do something on the back though, I think I'm going to play more into one of the twos. So it would be 61 or 73. I think I want to make sure one of those is in
Yeah.
and probably not play 85, 67, which is what if I'm trying to bank on something, I usually go with the ones over any other thing, but it's going to be a tough one to actually, I would say, this is certain to do, but yeah, I think we're going to play more of the one of the twos or maybe even both twos on strats than
Hmm.
the ones. Just because I'm not sure what's going on here, but we're more due to have one of those hit. And obviously, those are on cycles where 90 is 45 because if it's the other way, it's not going to be able to.
All right.
So if we don't see the twos this cycle, we won't see them next. Um, Tough to bank on any of that, though. I think you probably do want to try to eliminate one of these four, and that'll get your backs down to four instead of eight. But that's going to be tough to do.
Yeah, I hate 61.
Well, yeah,
61
last
knows more
six.
like every time I'm like 61's really due. I'm gonna go with it.
Ooh, yeah. That.
41.
So
Ah,
let's look at that. That is a very unique hold. That every time it shows that it has a chance, look at that. It just goes right back to terrible.
mhm.
That's I don't know if I've ever seen anything else like that. It's not common to
I think that's
every
Johnny
other
B.
like yeah. I mean, they get one of these every once in a while, but yeah, this one's going on.
Johnny B
Is
hates
that almost 2
61s.
years? A year
All
and a
there is
half.
to it.
Yeah, it's like a yeah. We're about a year and a half since I had two cycles in a row of being good. It's due, right? Is that what they say? Meanwhile, 85 has been looking really good. Yeah, this is the cycle that 61 is going to hit. Just because you said you don't like it, you may
Telling
want to
you,
take it back.
they're out to get me. They're out to get me.
Yeah, anything I say at the back on this point is guessing though. So we'll leave it at there. Let everybody make their decisions. 14, 15. We'll just say 90's going 44. Let's just play that safe. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
there's kind of what I'm at. Um, Tough to narrow the back down, but you just have to kind of make one decision. Now the front, like I said, it's a pretty good mixture of holds. Um, the or the two cycles ago 25s. It's 8 and 31, and you see we're actually starting to get more yeses.
Yeah.
I don't think we're at a point where we can confidently say if it's yes, use it again, but it's getting better than it was. You see, there's not much of the since that big yes no stretch and then three no in a row.
Right.
It's more of a little above a 50-50. So you may use that, try to lean into that. That cuts you down drastically on your options. Don't know if that's a definite though. Still closer to 50-50 than I would use, but it's looking more positive at least than it did. So that may be one of the things you want to look at. Let's see. How did we? I think we had enough double drops last year that I don't think we'll start off the year with one.
Mhm.
Um, Last year, what was it? We had three in the first 5 or 6 cycles, something like that. It was
Yeah.
a lot early. And then we proceeded to have more than we've ever had. But
Record
yeah,
setting.
if it's just me, I wouldn't start the year going with the 26s. The only thing I think gives it any kind of validity is you see three of our four mixed options have a 26. So
Mm.
you got about a, what, 75% chance then that you'll get at least one hold right and only miss one.
Yeah.
So it may be a safer option going that way. Um, but I don't think it's going to get you the 501 if that's what you're looking for. But it is a safe option for that reason that you likely only miss one. And I think that's the other thing to lean into typically when I see that a 26 is in this many, unless there's something that really stands out on that 28, 27, it's probably your riskier play because you're more likely to have a chance to miss both. And, you don't want to
Yeah,
do that. So I think I would avoid 28, 27, which was the most recent. It's in a range where it could hit, but it's hit most recently. So I think you're really looking at the 29, 26, 28, 26, 27, 26.
right. Yeesh.
Yeah. So a lot of options. Kind of tough to narrow them down. You're just going to have to kind of look at some of the individual holds and see what stands out, which not a lot. Mm, yeah, a little tougher. Uh, so yeah, I would rank this. We'll say use this as the fifth most likely, fourth, and then everybody will have to kind of pick these three. It's almost a dead even, and they'll just have to decide. There's going to be one hole that you really have to rule out, and yeah, 1, 5, 31, 33. Yeah, pretty much. So a little tougher. Uh, People are going to have to really think and find that differentiator, which could be anything because there's really nothing to differentiate those this cycle.
Yeah.
But yeah, that still leaves a lot more than wanted. So if we had those three, that'd be 12
Mm.
with eight back, still 96. So
Was gonna say somebody brought up a question. I think it was Derek or Jeremy or no, Jimmy maybe, who was asked, does anyone know what the highest amount spent on one cycle was ever by a player?
yeah, this Matthew Eunuch, he did this thing where he was in three feds and he was in every single league in the three feds.
Wow.
He did it for like three or four cycles, but most of them, this was before the limits, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, he spent, it was over $100 per fed. I think it ended up being close to like $500 per cycle is what it would have been, which is why he couldn't do that more than a couple cycles. But he always spent a lot. But as far as I know, that's the most. There's plenty of managers that spend probably 100 a cycle, but
Right.
yeah, he did it in a fed,
Yikes.
three in a row.
Yeah.
Uh, Crazy. Uh, yeah, he had something. It was a little over 200 wrestlers per fed that way
Holy
because
moly.
he put the max in every one.
I would assume you
But
would just like when you're doing your strats, you would just use a like a populator. You wouldn't even bother trying to figure
I
out.
don't know what he did. It wasn't good.
Well,
He he won a lot because he had that number, but it was a pretty low win percentage for what it was.
yeah,
I
that's
don't, you don't think you had much interaction with him though, did you?
no, I did not. He was in the
Yeah.
BRL for a short time, and I knew he had a reputation, but I said, look, to just play. And he brought this female wrestler character, and he won the league title at one point, and he did all right. Um, and then just he bailed, and I was like, it was funny. He like was talking shit. I'm like, I was fine with you. I didn't have a problem with you, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I just like didn't take the bait. I'm like, whatever, dude. I don't care. I got other players to take care of. Anyways, that was something brought up, so I thought I'd throw it out there. But I'd say this cycle is almost like having a cycle with like a few options. It's the reverse. It's like
Hmm.
best you can do is here's what we have, go to it and do
Yeah. I
what we can
mean,
do. But
think about this next cycle. We know we're going to cut the backs in half. We know we're going to cut half the 29 options out. We know that it's
Yeah,
not likely to get a double drop out of the first two. We get to use more of our previous few cycles because they won't have a double drop in it.
right.
Next cycle is going to be one of those that starts under 100 probably. So, we literally, like I said, last cycle, one of the lowest option counts we've ever had. So it's just the nature of it. It kind of balances out over time. But yeah, you follow one of the best with this. So everybody got
Right.
their 501s last cycle. Good luck to the
Yeah.
few that get it this time. But
Rolling the
yeah,
dice. And also, don't forget if you are not in the ACW yet, the All American Championship Wrestling, which is Ryan's new league, it is debuting this cycle. Just send a buck, create a wrestler, and you'll be in the battle royal. If you want to send some matches in, it's all scrub matches or tag matches, so keep that in mind. And yeah, go from there.
any restrictions or anything on it on like
I don't think so. I
entry?
think it's just
Like
wide
you
open. I,
can
I
just
don't remember
okay.
having any restrictions.
All right.
I think maybe it's a six wrestler limit, but I
Yeah,
think as
you
far as
can
like a
transfer
transfer and
whatever.
whatever, but it
Good.
should be a fun league. He's got a lot planned and you know, whoop, there's our timer. Uh, you know, so yeah. So that there's that. There's of course there's the spring events. Still time to get involved in John B. Cup, Murano Memorial, Lethal Lottery Trifecta. So there you go. All right, we're getting the message from them saying, "Hey, cut your time out." All right, so I guess we're pretty much done, right?
Yeah,
Like I
we
said,
could go. We could go on guessing, but it'd just
yeah,
be guessing, and I don't want to go down that path.
there you go.
Lead
So
everybody to the
you heard it
wrong
here first,
answer.
guys. Play the 28s.
Sure.
That's for Darren. All right, man. Well, thank you for the help, and hope you feel better.
All right.
Uh, we're all fighting colds right now, so
Yep.
everyone stay healthy out there. All right. Well, thank you very much, and I will see you in 3 weeks.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks,
See
man.
ya.